Hello everybody, this is Slappy here, and I will be bringing to you a game that was played in the NASTL Qualifier 1, and this is Team Complexity against its Gosu, and I'm bringing you one of these games. It's Gosu HwangSin is our Protoss down here, Korean Protoss, and then we have Complexity QXC is our American Terran up here. And yeah, the North American Star League just released their replay pack for the team qualifiers, the first team qualifier. And so yeah, I just wanted to cast a couple of these games, highlight some players, some good talented players that really don't get highlighted in replays very often. So it'll be interesting to see what these two players do. So yeah. So I've been playing a lot of StarCraft recently, and the one thing I've really noticed that's been bugging me lately is, I don't know, the music. It just seems, the music just seems to be so misfitting. You know, I always hate playing a 1v1 when that really scary music comes on, you know, the music with the water phone or whatever instrument that is that they use in the scary movies. And then later on there'll be a big epic battle and they're like playing bluegrass. So I don't know, man. I kind of wish they would release a soundtrack for StarCraft just so we could listen to all these ridiculous tracks that they play, because you can't really focus on them too hard when you can't really focus on the music too hard when you're playing the game, but if you just listen to the music, you'll just realize, wow, this is so misfitting. What is this doing here? So you can see both players playing relatively standard, getting a barracks. Over here, HwangSin going to be going for an early gas, dropping his gateway right now. Here we go, we got the probe coming into the base. It's going to be scouting up. And HwangSin not electing to build a Zealot out of that. Dropping the cybernetic source, who will probably be going early stalkers. Probe right here almost getting this SCV, not quite, but will delay the building of that supply depot just a little bit. And this probe is going to play a ring around the rosy around the command center, trying to kill this SCV. Can he do it? He decides not to, as he's just going to continue scouting the base. One Marine popping out right now, going to try to take out the probe. Probe almost getting the SCV. One more hit on that SCV and it would have died. Probe narrowly escaping, but that supply depot did finish, so that probe will be trapped in the base and will be taking out. Likewise, we got an SCV down here, scouting around. Cybernetic core finishes. There we go. There's an early stalker coming out for HwangSin. So HwangSin is kind of notorious for his very abusive playstyle, or some people call it abusive. I don't know. I never really label playstyles as being abusive, because unless you cannon rush, I think that's abusive. But he likes to go for early all-ins, and ooh, I did not notice that engineering base started going to delay HwangSin's expansion just a little bit. As you can see, QXC's expansion is going down right now. Take a look at the worker count. It is all pretty even. 21 probes and 19 SCVs, but of course we got those mules. Those mules do make a huge impact on income. So here we go. We're just kind of waiting to see what each player wants to do. Going to see at least sort of a macro game. Each player getting in relatively early expansion. Both players right now just kind of sitting back, seeing what's going on. Pull up the production tab right now. See the Nexus going down. We see the command center. Nothing too interesting happening. HwangSin is researching Warp Gate right now. Gets his second gas up. QXC is running off of 2 gas as well, as this command center is going to finish morphing that into an orbital command so he can drop more mules, get those minerals very quickly. Pull up the units tab again. Once again, probe has a two probe lead over the SCVs, 25 to 23. But of course, that mule will more than make up for that difference. Dropping down a bunker right there, wants to set up some early defenses. Those Marines. We got the Terran player right here, QXC, holding that watchtower with a Marine. Likewise, HwangSin over here with the Stalker holding that watchtower. This expansion is up and running. Probe count is now ahead of the SCV count, and as Protoss you really want to be ahead of the SCV count because of those mules. So in order to keep an even economy, you really do need to have a higher probe count than SCV count. You got 3 gateways. Robo on the way, so it looks like a 3-gate Robo build. Transferring more probes down to the expansion, getting some sentry. And he's just going to place his army right by the destructible rocks. He's going to use the sentry to force field right there, make sure the Terran army cannot get up the ramp. QXC dropping gases on his expansion, got that bunker up, building more supply depots. And each player, no early harassment from either of these players whatsoever. We're just going to kind of wait and see. And a small M-ball forcing the stalker off of the watchtower. Let's see what QXC can do with this. Oh, he decides to back out right there. Looks like he's just going to play the contain game. Pull up the production tab right now. And throwing down 2 forges is going to be getting those double upgrades, and they're both done, as you can see right now. Throwing up the ground weapons level 1 and ground armor level 1. Likewise, our Terran player researching stim pack, weapons 1. Throwing up starports. It looks like he's just going to go for a standard Marine Medevac Marauder ball. So once again, each player just sort of hanging out right now, seeing what the other one's doing, trying to feel each other out. Both watchtowers right now controlled by the Terran player. We have an observer out. He's going to be scouting around, going to be seeing quite a bit. That missile turret will force it to back out right there, and he's going to go to the main base, see what he can see. I mean, he sees the reactor, he sees the tech lab on that barracks, sees the reactor going up on the factory, and of course, probably going to do the switch with the starport, so that probably means a good sign that our Terran player QXC will be going medevac right here. And really not much else is going on. Like I said, each player just sort of waiting around. Check out the Army tab. The Army much bigger right now for QXC. And the mineral department, as you can see, 1250 mineral to 150 gas. That means he has lots of Marines. Check out the unit tab. Now he's got 8 Marauders, but 15 Marine, 8 Marauder. Starting to get a force right there. And HwangSin getting out Immortal. Immortal very good against those Marauders. Pull up the production tab once again. He is researching Blink. Another Immortal on the way. Check out this expansion. Fully saturated right there. Units tab, 49 pros to 45, 51 probes now to 45 SCVs. And the income tab with that mule will even it out. Pretty dead even on the income. Army supply still relatively even. Supply dead even right now. Units lost 50 to 81. Okay. And we got an army coming up right here. Checking to see if that expansion, he knows that the Protoss' third base is not up. He's going to run around, send a Marine in, see what's going on. And Marine did see this small army. I think he could take this out, but the sentries see if they can get some good force fields down. And the Terran army decides to back out. Does force the Guardian Shield. Trying to trap a couple of those Marines, but can't quite get it. And that medevac will go to work, heal up those Marines. So both players a little tentative to engage right now, warping in some more stalkers. Getting our Terran player right now getting infantry weapons level 2, and our Protoss with that double forge getting armor at level 2 and weapons level 2. Throwing down some good force field, trapping one Marine, but really not forcing an engagement. Loses a Zealot right there. Units lost tab. Still have right now starting to favor the Protoss player. Warps in some more Zealots right there. And this command center is done. He's morphing that into an orbital command. Once that is done, he will fly that right here. So looks like our Terran player will have a third base up earlier than our Protoss player. Check out the units tab. Once again, probe count still relatively even. Check out the army tab. Army size pretty even. Supply count really even. The upgrades right now are pretty even. So I don't know. That army pretty Marauder heavy, and with those Immortal and a lot of Zealots, and he's researching Zealot legs. He already has Blink, so charged Zealots are very good against Marauders because the Marauder slow is less effective when the Zealots, of course, can't just run up right up to them. And right now the supply favoring the Protoss player. Terran still deciding not to engage. Check out the income tab, still pretty even. This space But as you can see, the Terran player's income will skyrocket because he's got 3 mules on that expansion. Check out the units tab. Right now 64 to 64 SCVs, but those 4 mules will give the Terran player the advantage in the income. Right now ground weapons level 3 and ground armor level 3 going up, also producing 2 Colossus. And I like this play. He has the ability, he has blink, he has the ability to warp in stalkers to counter the Viking that the Terran player will of course get once he sees these Colossus come out. And right there, big engagement coming down, trapping those Marauders and Marines, and still not going to fully commit here. He was able to pick apart that army a little bit. Looking at the units last tab, still favoring our Protoss player. And we got extended thermal lance on the way. Check out what the Terran player is doing. Getting some Viking. He must know that the Colossus are coming. Of course, doing the reactor factory switch. Switching the factory with the starport, going to be able to double produce Vikings. Right here he's producing 2 Vikings at a time. We'll probably start producing 2 Vikings at a time or 2 medevacs at a time out of that depth. He chooses to go Vikings. And here we go, QXC running up the ramp. Let's see what he can do. Takes out this pylon. And he's going to be able to get away before HwangSin can react to that. We got this expansion going down right now, finally getting up his 3rd base. And the income tab right now heavily favoring the Terran. So HwangSin really needs to make sure he gets this base up and running before too long. Our Terran player just hanging out. Got a big reinforcing army right here. Got lots of Vikings, but I really like the Protoss' army here. It is fully upgraded. Those 3-3 are almost done. And as you can see, Armor 2 and Weapons 3 are on the way. So, ooh, he's getting personal cloaking right there. So as you can see, Protoss right now has a bit of an upgrades advantage. Will he try to time it and push out once this 3-3 is done? I think he should. And the Stalker's going to poke out right here, see what he has. Let's see what our Terran player decides to do. I really like this army composition. Lots of Stalkers to deal with those Viking. And the Immortal will take the brunt of the damage from the M&M ball, while the Colossus will just sit in the back and just do massive damage. Trying to pick up a Viking. He does get one right there. And the Terran player trying to come down, but throws up the cannons, warping in units. He will not be able to touch that expansion quite yet. So he's going to swing back around to this ramp. They're kind of doing some ring around the rosy right here, but the Observer, of course, seeing all of this. So our Protoss player is in good position right now. QXC is maxed out, so he will have to force an engagement here pretty soon. The Stalker blinking under the Viking, doing a good job. The Colossus will remain relatively untouched, and the Colossus is doing massive damage. The Chargelot's in the Marauder's face right there, doing a lot of damage. And of course the Immortal, oh my goodness. This is such a scary army to go against if you're Terran. Chargelot's, Immortal, and Colossus doing a ton of damage right there. And QXC forced it back out. Check out the units lost tab, heavily favoring the Protoss player now. And the Terran player almost losing twice as many units. Supply now heavily favoring our Protoss player, and these SCVs are going to transfer down. And good job, the Observer spotting the SCV transfer, so this Protoss army puts itself in position. Terran right now trying to grab a 4th base. Let's see how that turns out. So QXC moving in position to try to defend this expansion, but he's not a good decision. HwangSin's just going to run right up the ramp, and his army, and right now QXC's army is got completely out of position. These straggling Marauders are going to fall. Not enough Viking at all to deal with these Colossus. They will go down pretty quickly. The Colossus are just going to stand back and do massive damage. The Immortal doing a great job tanking, and this Terran army is going to fall. Look at this Colossus right here, 12 kills. That Colossus has 10 kills on this Immortal. All these units being super cost effective. As you can see, the units lost tab. And QXC has lost over twice as many resources worth of units as our Protoss player, HwangSin. So really nothing QXC can do at this point. HwangSin is probably going to force a GG. And a perfectly played game by HwangSin. As Protoss, the longer a game goes against Terran, Protoss will get the advantage, so HwangSin doing a good job not forcing engagements early on. And QXC should have been more aggressive. If you just let a Protoss player macro up like this, get a full supply army, it will be very hard to defeat, especially once they get those 3-3 upgrades. And as you can see, supply 166 to 73. This game should be ending any moment now. So yeah, HwangSin did a great job just waiting this game out, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And there's the GG. Complexity QXC leaves the game. And there's that. Gosu Gaming did end up winning this series. I think this was the round of 16, I believe. I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, I just wanted, this replay pack got released about a week ago. I just wanted to cast, I think I'm going to cast a few games from this just to highlight some players that aren't really covered much in replays. QXC, a very good player, and of course HwangSin, also a very good player. And HwangSin showing that he doesn't have to 4-gate to beat you and do an early all-in. He can play methodically against the Terran. He can wait. He can build up. As you can see, macroing up very hard, getting a 4th base early on. QXC didn't really establish that. He did drop down mules, though. Check out the income tab at the end. QXC still had a higher income, but with the units knocking at the front door, Protoss is very good when they are at your base, putting the pressure on. QXC really just could not amass an army, and yeah, I hope you liked my cast, and I will hope to bring to you more of these games. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.